Right, that sounds good. We seem to be going live. I hope this works. Nothing like starting a brand new channel and then realising you have never gone live on it before, so you don't know what's going to happen when you go live. It's okay, we're live. It's good, it's working. I don't believe it. Let's hope all the audio visual stuff is working out. Brand new channel, brand new idea. It all looks good. I even got a notification say I was live right now. This is deadly. I like it. Yes, we're good. We're all right. There's Jared Hewitt in the chat. Eric Watcher's in the chat as well. Here's to 10k subscribers. That'd be nice on this channel. Yeah, it would actually. It'd be nice to kind of get a few extra subscribers on this. But this is obviously the Sunday service, and it's 2 p.m. and you're welcome to it. It's the first day doing the Sunday service on this channel, and if you're wondering why it had to move over here, it's just because an algorithm thing. Because the Sunday service is a 2-hour live stream, YouTube throws it up. So if you're binge watching, I don't know, a Kia video and then a something else, and then it'll throw you the Sunday service. And if you're not used to the Sunday service, you probably will click off the channel now. You'll probably go, no, I don't really watch 2 hours. Like, why would I watch 2 hours unless I'm interested in it? So I need to move the channel, I need to move the Sunday service off the channel and make that a little bit easier for myself. But it would be really good if you could share and like and let everyone know that now the live stream is on this channel. And officially it'll be here forever from now on out. And so the more of this we can get, the better. The more people that come along to it, the better, obviously, because then we get more subscribers. So don't forget to subscribe if you haven't been here before. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the share button, and all the usual bits that you do on other channels. And this completely separate channel just for you guys, just for the Sunday Service viewers, is right here. I need to open up a different window here for a second. My chat window's here and over there, and lovely. And now I'm still getting notifications all over the place. Thank you very much for subscribing, everybody. There's GC005355. Morning, Bob. Slightly early. Have you heard anything for the release date of the new Kia Niro for Irish market? I did. We were talking about it the other day. Niro will be later this year. They're hoping to do the new Niro. And there'll also be a new Kia e-Soul along as well, or new Kia Soul, e-Soul. They'll all be along later on this year. Kia is going to go through quite a revolution of releases now. The Sportage has just come out. Now the Niro will be next, and then the Soul will be not far behind that. Also coming this year will be a new Mazda SUV, which will be going to Frankfurt to test. And there's a new Skoda Enyaq Coupe, which will go into Italy to test, I think, as well. And I just came back from a BMW launch that I can't talk about because I'm under embargo with that one, the driving impressions, that one, until the 23rd of the month. A long old embargo because I went over with the lads from the UK, who were all very nice. Rob, if you're watching, hello Rob, how's things? Rob from the summer having a chat. Been charged up again, €3 a month. Parking, Amazon Prime going up again and up again. Yes, everything is rising. Every price of everything that I could find today has gone up in one way or the other, and it seems to be no end to it, actually. I'll just get my website open for the news. There doesn't seem to be any let up in the price of everything going up. Now, we were predicting it here on the channel. We predicted it on TikTok and on Instagram. I actually led a little protest up to Dublin about the fuel prices last year in December. And it's insane. Like the price of stuff that's going up right now, the cost of living has risen. The cost of cars has risen. The cost of fuel has risen. The real offset behind this is that the cost of fuel will continue to rise. And when the fuel has risen, that is the cost of delivery. So all of the delivery charges, everything starts to go with that because fuel costs more. Fuel is the killer of the prices that's actually going to drive us into inflationary times, which means interest rates are going to rise, because to kill inflation you rise interest rates. But now we have a diversification of money. So some money's in Bitcoin, some money's in PayPal, some money's in online things, and then you have less traditional money in banks, where money actually just sits and we lend banks money to do stuff with. So it is going in a very strange direction, and over the next few months I think we're going to have some problems, a lot of problems over the next few months over how much we're going to be spending, and just the general cost of everything. Like, it's just, you look around, you see the price of everything. I put up a TikTok this morning about the price of petrol and diesel in Spain, where I was. Don't worry, it isn't far off same price it is here. It is moderately cheaper, and you will get it cheaper if you go to Galp. It tends to be a little bit cheaper than Cespa, and all these different, they've all got different names over there. But there is ones that are cheaper than others, and I just thought it was interesting to see that petrol See if I can find it here. I do have it because I did look at it there. Petrol is 151.5. They go slightly different, so it's 151 and a half. And then diesel is 150. No, the other way around. Diesel is 151, and petrol is 162. So it's slightly more expensive over there than here, or slightly cheaper over there than here, but not by a huge amount. We are paying an awful lot of money for fuel here, which means the knock-on effect of that is that everything will rise. Electricity has risen as well, so even the EV owners are not getting away with it. They're still going to be paying more for their fuel, not as much as petrol and diesel, still cheaper, but it is going up. But if electricity prices rise again, that's another kind of, everybody pays a price of electricity, so if that goes up, everybody gets nailed. No matter what you do, even if you cycle a bike, you're going to be paying more money. But you only realise what's going on when you go other places. When you're in other countries, then you go, well, hang on, why is it so cheap here for everything rather than being very expensive there? But I think it's going to continue going. We will go through some more stuff. There's Eric Cross as well. We will go through some more stuff over the next couple of hours about prices of stuff and fuel costs, and we'll find it on websites and stuff along the way. Don't forget to like and share the new channel. Thank you very much for sharing it anywhere, any platform where we don't mind where you're coming from. If you want to just join in the chat and have a go, it's always nice. There's a lot on this weekend, so I wasn't expecting a huge crowd to come along anyway. There is the Galway Rally is on this weekend. There's a Drift Games Bash on in Mondello as well. There's terrible weather. And then all of a sudden the wind dies down and it turns into a gorgeous day. So it's a kind of a weird weather out there at the moment. And everybody's a bit tired and a bit like, we're just into February now and everyone's a bit, God, what day is the 6th of February? Would you believe January's already gone? There's Automobile 3, thank you very much, on its own channel, Corrected Amundo. It is sitting here and it'll be here forever. So I'm just going to leave this one up here and I will eventually upload all of the Sunday service from the other channel onto this channel, so you have a back catalogue. You want to go back through stuff as well. You'd be surprised when people actually watch the Sunday service back over time. I'm always genuinely surprised when people join in live and then join in after as well. Stuart Carr, good luck with the channel. I'm hoping the channel's going to work out very well. I hope it'll actually help my own channel, the normal channel, the Next Gear channel. I'm hoping that's going to be huge at the moment as well. We got 24 concurrent viewers. I knew it was going to be quieter today. There's a lot of reasons why it's quieter today. Obviously, there's 200 subscribers or something on this channel, so it's very hard. The notification when it would normally go out, the email that would normally go out, won't go out today because it's not on its normal channel, and the normal kind of cues to make people come into the channel and do stuff will be different. So people who are just waiting around for the notification to happen, it won't happen unless you're subscribed. So we'll have to build a whole new channel again. We got a good start though, I think, with 250 subscribers. That's all right. Jim Shed is here. Greeting Bob's new chapter, new channel, best wish for Jim Shed. I'm still in the infancy stage, almost 400 subscribers. How far you come? Have I got more than 400 subscribers already? I was expecting that. That is new to me. It is flying along in fairness. 28 viewers, which is very good. That's more than I actually expected to come along today. And this is the Sunday service live only. Well, not just Sunday service. We might do other live streams during the week because I can use this channel for just live streams, which would be quite nice. We can also do private live streams, which I'm working on as well, to do private live streams on Patreon and on channel membership. So it's possible to actually do a live stream with just the people who are attached to that, which would probably make it kind of boring if it's just me talking to a handful of people. You know what I mean? Graham Cullis here as well. How, Bob? Had a good week setting up with fresh Cupra. There I see. I have tea as well. You're on the ball. Ginger tea next shop. I bought a brand new ginger, lemon and honey tea that's downstairs. Brian Cassie says, good luck with the new channel. Thank you, Brian, for the notification on Twitter. Yeah, we're trying to spread it out and move the whole out. I forgot to do one on Instagram actually. And Aid got a pop-up reminder, which is good. Glad to hear it. That's what we want. We want reminders to be going out. I just put one up on Instagram, bring people over, because I do a lot of stuff on Instagram actually now, which is going to be hard to do because I'm not logged into this channel on any other platform. But we'll be okay. We get there in a minute. Sunday service, 229 subscribers. That's all right. I'm all right with that. That's all right. I can live with that. No, that's not going to work. I can't do it. He won't show me the live stream on the thing. That's terrible. Goddamn software. It's just not good enough. Talk amongst yourselves. We'll be back in a second. I'm not very technical at these sort of things. It takes me a while to get through them, but I eventually get there in the end. That's all we want. We're here. I've made it to my own live stream, which is good. Pause that for a second. And how do I share it? Oh, here we go. Share. Good stuff. Now we're talking. Copy the link. Right, now we can keep on talking. Thank you very much for joining. Like I said, we're going to fly through it. Car sales. Bought a new car 3 years ago. Dealer had phoned me a couple of times to see if to trade in for a new, due, strong second-hand price, but the stock is low and seems daft to try it. This is the problem. I'm looking for project cars and stuff as well. We've been talking about this for a while. And the project cars are coming in. And there's loads of suggestions for project cars. But the problem is, there's nothing around. Like, there's no cars, and the cars that are there are so expensive. Like, there's just so few things you could buy right now to make any sense. And if you start looking at some of the new stuff out there, then you have just the price of new cars seems to be incredible. We were remarking yesterday, myself and John Mitchell, a friend of mine, when we're down he's the Irish Daily Star. We were talking about the price of new cars, and the two of us were looking at his phone, pricing up a new Qashqai. Now, a Qashqai, to me anyway, a Qashqai should be a moderate family 5-door hatchback. It's a small SUV. It's always been reasonably small and looks pretty good. It's sharp. It's not brand new. It's newish. You know, it's okay. It's got old-fashioned engines in and stuff. But the cheapest one we could spec out with a nice spec, not too mad spec, just a nice spec, was €47,000. And I thought, my God, 47 grand for a Qashqai just seemed like, what the hell are we doing? The price of cars is insane. The 5-door standard hatchback is just disappeared. The kind of 25 grand family runabout, there was okay performance. Dad didn't mind driving it. The missus didn't mind driving it. The kids were okay to be seen in it. You know, that kind of normal Seat Leon, Volkswagen Golf, entry-level yoke, just like, where's it gone? It just disappeared. They all became 35 grand cars all of a sudden. And that's just killing the market for sure. Danny Flynn says, Bobby, if using solar panels and battery pack as a means of saving energy and cost in the long term, have a PHEV, but assume all BEV in future. Well, there's kind of a fight going on between whether it's going to be BEV or PHEV. I've driven some PHEVs recently that are really good. A lot of car companies are putting a bit of money behind the PHEV effort because it's very hard to get batteries. And even BMW admitted recently they want to bring all of their manufacturing into the building now. They don't want a third party making battery technology and motors and stuff. They actually want to do it themselves. So that being the case, they kind of need to eke it out over time to try and get themselves done. But as regards solar panels and battery packs, the problem again is getting battery packs. So this is the idea of second use. So you would have something like a BMW i3 that's now gone off the market. Nobody has one anymore. It's run aground, and they want to use the battery pack for other purposes. Again, I was with BMW the other day. They're using 700 BMW i3 battery packs to run their factories. One of the factories in Leipzig. And I thought it was a really good way of doing it. That's really brilliant. That means that those battery packs get to be used again for something else. Now, you could do that at home, but the problem is getting a battery pack. So you need like a crashed Nissan Leaf or something that's going to be destroyed and try and buy the battery pack out, or buy a crashed car and take the battery pack out. And then you use solar panels to charge the battery pack, and the battery pack charges your car. That's brilliant, because essentially it's completely free. You know, that's free. You're just using the sun to do it. But solar panels are still kind of expensive. We don't get a lot of daylight in the wintertime here. You can do a good bit with them, but there's still, when it gets to winters, you're talking about maybe 3 to 5 hours of daylight, not direct sunlight, but daylight every day. So you have to keep them clean, have to be washed when they get dirty or they get snow on them, they're totally useless. And then you have to keep that battery pack at least ticking over. So there's a bit of maintenance in it, but you can certainly, and I'm intending on doing it myself at some point, but just the price of those battery packs is so scarily high, and they're very, very rare. A lot of people are hunting for battery packs at the moment. Noel Davison, best of luck with the new dedicated Sunday Server channel. Thank you very much, Noel. Good to have you aboard. Don't forget to subscribe if it's your first time here, or if it's your second time here and you didn't subscribe the bloody first time. Do it now while you still can. Graham Cullen, that I plan to keep my current car for 10 years. My car's 15 years old now, to say it, Leon, just passed an NCT again. Clean as a whistle. It doesn't cost me a lot of money to run it. If I'm dead honest with you, we put about 20 quid a month of petrol into that car. We pay the tax on it. We pay the NCT on it. But I would have to do that anyway with cars. So the tax is a bit high because it's 1.6. It's probably about 2.5 times the price of a tax band A car at 120. You know what I mean? But really, it's just so little trouble, and it doesn't cost me anything. I have no payments. I have no outstanding debt on it. I don't owe it anything. It doesn't owe me anything. So why would I go into phenomenal debt of 35, 40, 45 grand for something electric, maybe? Because that's probably where I'd go. From where I am now, the next step, logical step, is just go all BEV or a good PHEV, but they would be around the same money anyway. So I just don't see how I could make back that kind of money from solely moving into an electric thing. Hobbs Roddy's here. Good afternoon, Bob. Now, South Wales, good man. Good to have you aboard. I see everybody subscribing. Thank you very much. The usual links down below if you want to actually support the channel, what we do here. It's a free voice. We're trying to give everybody a voice to try and talk about cars, prices, finance, whatever you want to talk about, you can talk about here. We have ruffled feathers over the years, that is for sure. I'm seen as some kind of petrolhead. I don't know why. I do like petrolhead cars, but I actually like all cars. I'm not really that racist, like, you know what I mean? Gavin James says, cartel fixing prices. Some companies made more money through the furlough than normal in a year. Correct. Look what Mercedes was done, or rather the company that was running Mercedes put everybody out in PUP and then made profit on the PUP payments, and they claimed back their company payments and then paid it out in dividends. And that was just one company. You can imagine what a lot of them are up to. But there's certainly, I won't say cartel activity, but there's certainly something about what's going on right now that's certainly trying to make as much money as they possibly can. And I think it's kind of, scary to see how much power some car companies actually have or wield in this country, and how difficult it is for a journalist to make headway against this. I'm choosing the Irish Car of the Year list right now, which I have my Excel spreadsheet is coming to me, and I'm filling in my details and putting up all my stuff. And you're looking at it going, you know, there's some cars in that just car companies just won't provide for driving because they know that if they give it to me, they're going to get a harsh review, or they know if they're going to give it to Phil Hederman, it won't suit him, or whoever it is. You want to just pick out these people. And so I often wonder to myself, should I be voting at all? I should have just made my own car of the year, or should it be in somebody else's car of the year? Not really thinking about it, because I think the Irish Car of the Year one is so old now, it's very hard to drag it into new life, like. And I'm not sure how much relevance the buying public puts on that sort of stuff. So to keep a cartel-like activity out of the newspapers, what you do is keep the journalists from talking about the cartel activity. And when I talk about it, I always get crap as well. There's Hellhound as well. Good to see all the usual names popping up on the screen. You see Johnny Smith's vid on the Zoe. Zero NCAP must have tanked Zoe sales. Absolutely murdered Zoe sales. You would be very, very surprised how much emphasis is put on getting 5 stars in the NCAP. I mean, people get fired from the car industry for getting 4 stars. So you can imagine what would happen when a car gets 0 stars. It's very talked about. Let's look at Hyundai Accent. Was taken completely off the market because it got 0 stars. Hyundai Pony went the same way, actually. The one that preceded the Accent went exactly the same way. And Hyundai got, I think, 3 stars on the first. It may have been 4 stars, but I think they got 3 or 4 stars on the first of the i40s or i30s or something. And that nearly killed the sale of that car. So you can imagine what would happen with, even if it's a good electric car. And I always had a soft spot for Zoe. I think Zoe is actually probably one of the better electric cars out there, because it's like a workhorse. You know, it's pretty basic inside. It's good range. It charges at 22 kilowatts at a 22 kilowatt charger, and it all seems to work pretty well. But just because they put an airbag in a different place, and because the NCAP rating moved on a bit, boom, you've got a problem straight away with anything to do with sales in that car. And I think that's going to only get worse. I think a lot of cars are going to start failing the NCAP rating soon, and I think some of them actually deserve to fail, if I'm honest with you, because some of them are just crap. 44 is here. Make sure you click the like button and the subscribe button, because we're obviously just brand new. First transmission on this channel like we never did before. Gavin Chambers, Zoe is an old name for the moon. Was it? There was some girl, I seem to remember, when the Zoe came out first, there was some girl in France took Renault to court over the name. I just seem to remember that as a weird thing in the back of my head, that they named the car after some girl called Zoe, and then she didn't like the idea of the car or something. I can't remember. There was some sort of a court case over the whole thing. I'm actually going to physically be moving the office over this week as well, so what you're looking at now in the background will change over next week as well. I've ordered some new lights. Bigger lights, which give a different sort of a vibe to the place, rather than that kind of that's a daylight LED, and I bought that. Has been brilliant for me, absolutely brilliant for me. But I need to buy one that does a slightly different lighting scheme to make it nicer, and we're going to upgrade that camera as well while I'm at it, to make more of the live stream Sunday service stuff and make them a little bit more, I won't say professional, but more visually more appealing. Also coming out this year will be 2 new podcasts for me. One of them is talking to men. I know that sounds... it's coming. It's all about men, and there's a good thing behind it. We're going to have lots of guys from doctors and consultants are going to be on talking about health matters for men. We're also asked Leo Varadkar to come on the show as well. We've asked a lot of people to be on the show. Some of them have said yes immediately. Some of my friends have said yes immediately as well. Interesting people will be on to give advice about stuff about growing older, getting bigger, exercise. There's guys, gym guys coming on. All kinds of stuff going to happen. That's going to be an exciting podcast. The other one is going to be a bit of fun podcast as well, which will be coming out later on in March, I think. All happening around me at the moment, which is deadly. Ed Smith is here. Afternoon, Bob. Any news on getting the Audi A4 B10? Currently have B9 S4, but going through a small fortune in petrol. I don't know. See, everything, all the car companies, particularly Volkswagen, are taking the pressure off their diesel sales and petrol sales, and are now putting a lot of emphasis on all their electric models. You know, as a Seat Cupra, the Cupra brand within Seat has decided that they're just going to work on their Cupra Born, like the Fermenter, PHEV, Cupra Born, full electric, and that's where they're going. So Audi's been pushing the GT, e-tron GT, and the other e-trons in among them. So I don't see a good future for A4, if I'm honest with you, because Passat is looking in jeopardy as well, which is also an A4. Basically, all saloons have started to disappear off the market, including the Mondeo, which has also gone off the sales market. It'll still be there for sale for a while, but it's not going to be there for a long time. Darren McCann, well done, Bob. New Kia Ceed Sports Wagon PHEV seems decent value, 30k. Not bad. Kia's always been pretty good value. A lot to do with the fact they usually only have 3 models. So they just go, here's the entry, here's the middle, here's the top. And they usually kind of load the middle one. So they put a lot of stuff on the middle one. And then they put a GT line out of the top one, which is usually like spec'd with everything. So 30k seems okay. I've always liked Ceed. Particularly the wagon version of it. It's such a practical car. You would be so impressed how much stuff you can get at the back of that versus something like a Sportage, which you think looks bigger, but it's actually not. Physically, they're smaller. I suggest a remake classic tried and tested Corolla over 4 Transits. Yeah. Well, you see, problem is safety systems after taking away most of that. And cars themselves, physically, cars have gotten a lot bigger. If you were to take the original Corolla, even the ones that I owned, like an 89 and 90 Corollas, and put them beside today's Corollas, they'd be dwarfed by them. Like, today's Corollas are huge. Hi, Bob. Could not find some of the service YouTube without a link on the other channel. I know, that's the problem. That's the way YouTube works. They don't necessarily find exactly what you're looking for. So you put in the word Sunday service and it doesn't show you anything because the channel doesn't have enough subscribers. That's why one of the reasons YouTube is dying. People can't actually find the content they want because YouTube is now the biggest search engine. So I'll put up SEO systems on the Sunday service channel, but I needed to have a broadcast on it first. I need to have something on the channel to show YouTube that it's not some sort of a lunatic scheme, that it is just me doing this thing, even though this is actually a sub channel of my bigger channel. So it's on the same login. It's a sub brand of the brand. So I hope they'll be able to see that. And I'll talk to people at YouTube. I can actually contact some people at YouTube, but it's like a help thing, and this automated system goes on and goes, hello, what would you like? And you go, I want to get something, and then it goes, I didn't understand the question. And that's what happens every time, like Aer Lingus the other night. Do you know I couldn't check in for my flight from Spain to Ireland without using a system called Verifly, which is a third-party app that you have to give all of your documentation to, and then they say that you're verified to fly. Now, does that not strike anyone as being a real invasion of privacy, that Aer Lingus force you to use Verifly instead of embedding Verifly into their systems? I just found it disgruntling. So I went into the airport and checked in like an old-fashioned version way, just queued up and checked in. And the girl was really nice and gave me a seat at the very front. And it was lovely. It was much more VIP. But I ended up with a physical piece of paper. And I also want to point out that in all the forms I fill out, which is transit forms, so forms you go from here to there and you fill out where you're going to be, what you're going to do when you're there, and then you come back into Ireland, none of them were checked. Not a single document piece of anything was checked on any part of my journey coming back. Not a bit. I was checked on the way into Spain though, that you have a verified pass thing and they look at your vaccine passport and all that was all checked going into Spain, but nothing was checked in Ireland. Nothing. Why did it make a battery top up for cars like mobile phones? A battery top up for cars. It's this physical size, Gavin. It's the physical size of the batteries inside of electric cars. 88, like even if you take a reasonable size, like a 50 kilowatt hour battery, it's huge. You'd have to carry around another 50 kilowatt battery with you to charge up the first one. Wouldn't make any sense. Like this is only, what is it, 3,000 or 12,000 milliamp hours or something. It's not. They're not huge. The batteries that are in these. It's only milliamp hours. Like they're really, really small. I'm in Edinburgh. Top spec Mazda CX-3 was 27 grand. Now the CX-30 with mild hybrid, but otherwise the same spec is 32 for a small SUV. Everything's just gone up. Every single thing has gone up, and the price to put in the fuel for them has gone up. Everything has gone up. And I find it weird that the government is going to give a loan to every single UK citizen of £200. Why are they doing that? That doesn't make any sense. You have to pay it back. It's not a grant or anything. It's not like normally they'd go, here's 200 quid off your bill, good luck. But you have to pay it back at £40 a year. I was watching the other night in the news, it's going, that's not a grant, that's a loan. It's mad, isn't it? Story Bob and there's Johnny Dub as well. Gavin Chambers here too. Why didn't they make compressor engines like they had in boats? Okay, air as fuel. I don't know about that one. That's even boats don't do that. They're diesel engines these days. Blender Balsam. Certainly should steep the return of new car finance deals here in the States. 2.9% for 60 months, etc. Maybe a sign new car market return to normal. I think it might do a little bit better in the States than it will here. Here is so slow. We are so subject to European manufacturing scale that the problem is we're just not getting an uptake on any of this stuff. And we rely heavily on PCP, which I don't think is in the States. We don't have there is versions of it, but it's not personal contract plan. It's a more like a lease system out there. You can have, like, I've gone through some of the finance things out in the States. I've seen Ford Ranger Raptors for like $30 a month, depending on how you're trading things in. It's dirt cheap to own a car in some places out there. Brian Cassiani, dashcam test, had aggressive bloke overtaking, cutting in front of me Friday. Didn't let him jump the lane of lights. 3 kids with me at the time. Scary. Road rage is increasing. Road rage is increasing. I've seen it myself as well, Brian. I still think the one that Halfords do at the moment, but it's been in Ireland for years, and they're called, I did a video on it, the best dashcam at the time. It's still the best one, most reliable one. I can get them now that upload to cloud and do all sorts of stuff. But like, you want one that's at least kind of 4K. You want that kind of good zoom in stuff because you want to be able to read license plates and stuff. But I definitely would look at some of the more traditional big brand names, not the Chinese ones. Some of them are really expensive from China and they're just not good enough. And Jim Shed has put up there, Nextbase 522 GW. That's the one, best dash cam from Halfords. That's the one I actually have as well in my car. I think it's only 1080p or something, but it's actually really good. But certainly from road rage perspective, road rage has gone up quite a bit. People are quite aggressive on the road these days. I've seen it with my own 2 eyes. I've seen truck drivers and bus drivers and more frustration as people are filming things and they're putting the frustration online. They go, God, a cyclist in my way. How dare they, the self-entitled bastards. And that's happening a lot as we share less space with more things. More people on the road, more drivers on the road, more cyclists on the road, more everything on the road, little scooters and stuff scooting around the place, and people are getting very uptight about it. And that's, unfortunately, that is the offset of having to deal with people, normal people again, and not on a Zoom call. As of course, a lot of people are going back to work. They're being sent back to the office, and the office is going, when you're not at work, you're not at the office. We're not doing a hybrid version, just coming into the office and going to stay there all day. And like, when you think about it, everybody could easily work from home. We proved that already. It's not that hard. Like, it's quite easy. I don't know why you'd want to even own an office. Why would you want that? Automobile 3, when I was buying a new Qashqai 5 years ago, I had a quote for a mid-range car. Then I bought the Tecna X with all the bells and whistles. It was cheaper because the safety rating was better. Yeah, slightly different way of working it in the UK, but I just find right now having a Qashqai starting at 47 grand. Not starting, but that's where the one you would buy would be well up there, nearly 50 grand. Like 50 grand should be able to get you a 5 Series, a decent like BMW 5 Series with a nice bit of kit. But it can't really. It's like 55, 60 grand nearly for one of those 5 Series. A minis are in there as well, 37, 38. Like, it's, where is the cheaper? And I know Dacia is there. I get it. Like, Dacia's hanging around the background and all. But really, a Duster starts at 18,000 euros now. It's not. That's not really that cheap either. And the Sandero, I think, starts at 17.5 or 16.5 or something. And like, that's probably the cheapest car you could buy right now. Would I buy a Dacia? I don't know. Me, probably not, because I don't drive very well. I'd go mad if I had to drive something that didn't handle very well. You need a bit of handling in your life. Graham Cullen says, do you know anything about French cars? Remember the long-running Papa Nicole adverts? That was for years. Yeah, there was a Papa Nicole thing on when he used to make real ads, good ads on telly, when they had jingles. I actually came across, I'm going to show my age now, but I came across the ad the other day, and I bet you the minute I say the words, the phrase of the product, everyone in the room who's around my age will immediately, the jingle will go on their head, and it's shaken back. Bet you all remember it too. Anyway, Jim Shed says 2018 Qashqai Technical Plus now selling forecourse 26 grand. Mad. It's 2018 one as well. Like, that's an old car. 26,000 euros for a 2018. That's a 4-year-old car. Like, that's mad. Isn't it mad to hold on to that kind of value? That's the way the second-hand market has gone, though. As people want to change cars and can't find anything, and then just start buying anything because they can get PCP, or they can get a loan, or car loan, or whatever on it. I think it was very nice, but I forgot to make me ginger tea. Anyway, Shan Tang, I can't pronounce that. I'm sorry, I'm only butchers. Hi Bob, planning to buy a used Prius. They're all over the place lately, I've noticed. 2018, 25,000 mileage is my first car. It's a good first car. Your thoughts? One hassle-free hybrid car, low maintenance, good fuel economy. Low maintenance for sure. Yeah, all Prius are very low maintenance. They don't really sell batteries, so there's never really much wrong with those batteries either. Now, good fuel economy is very dependent on how you drive it, and I mean very dependent. I was in the back of a taxi the other day in Malaga, going up the hills of Malaga. I don't know if you've ever been to Malaga, but there's lots. It's like San Francisco and places, like these vertical bits in it. And that little car was roaring its head off trying to get up the hill. It made it, but like the fuel economy is terrible. But the offside of that is, if you drive it properly, it's very fuel efficient. And like I've driven Toyota Prius for 18, 20 kilometers without the engine coming on, and there's a video on YouTube of me doing that. So there's lots of upsides. There's very few downsides. The only downside would be it's not plug-in, or it's, it hasn't got a big battery in it. But it'll make a grand first car for you for sure. Hi Bob, just out of curiosity, what do you think of leasing cars? In this country, leasing cars is an issue. Yeah, there's all kind of business things. You have to be VAT registered and stuff to lease a car. But in the UK, they have a lease program that you don't have to have any of that. They can just lease the car and pay a fee, and that's it. I think it's actually kind of the future. So Volvo in Northern Europe was leasing out. So you pay them a monthly fee, and you can have any of the Volvo range of cars. So you can have any one of them for a set fee, and that's your insurance, your tax paid, service costs covered, and you get a brand new car in your forecourt and have any one from the range whenever you want. And that was the beauty of that system, that if you could expand that beyond just Volvo, make it any brand of car, can you imagine how easy that would be? Just to ring up on Monday and go, I'll have a 5 Series today, and you keep that for a week like I do, and then you hand it back and you get yourself whatever you want to get. Have that, a Volvo XC90, whatever it is. And that kind of leasing will come into it, I think, eventually. I think that's very close by. The hold up for that, the reason that hasn't gone ahead in other countries, is insurance. Insurance companies will not do. So insurance companies want to make money from me, not from the car company. They don't want the car company paying my insurance, because then I go into a sort of a dealer insurance thing, or go into a sort of universal cover thing. But leasing cars in itself right now is actually pretty good, but it doesn't make it any cheaper than owning the car. It's still about the same. A lot of lease companies, the only thing you'll miss is service costs. You know, you still have to insure it, still have to tax it, still have to fuel it. You just won't have to service it. That would be the thing about leasing. But I like the idea of leasing, particularly the way to do it in the UK, because you can just kind of run a car for a year, lease a car for a year, and then flip it over after 12 months or get a different one after 6 months. Like, there's so much stuff you could do with that leasing system, but people are after profits. They're not after trying to get people being nice to people, you know. Well, I've seen a new Cupra, Travis. I can't even pronounce that. I've seen that name a million times. Keep looking at it going, Traviscon? Why would you call a car Traviscon? It looks like they're going ahead with production. Best of luck with channel. Thanks. They are going ahead with production, yeah. They need to keep... The problem is Cupra has established itself as a brand new brand. Not say it. I'm not supposed to say it Cupra. I'm supposed to say Cupra. And so Cupra is doing its own thing. But to be Cupra, you have to have little performance cars. This is the problem. You have to have the performance cars go with it, or you have to build your own stuff. And that's where we're talking about with the Tavascan, which I'm probably going to have to fly down to Barcelona and see at some point in the future, I hope, because I like going to Barcelona. I miss travel. I missed it a little bit. I miss good trips. It was good, but it does look nice. Yeah, not a bad looking car, actually. The average dash cam is a HDC 400, about 39 quid with trade card. Oh, is it? I don't know. The one we were looking at earlier on is the one I actually like. The one that was said earlier. The next base 522. That's the one I actually like. Any of that next base stuff just seems to work. You put an SD card in it and just forget about it until you want it. And it just seems to work very well, you know. Brian Cassie's in tags. Wow, Ireland's so much more expensive than the UK. You guys need to leave the EU. Yeah, there's upsides and downsides to that one, unfortunately. We'd have to see it. That's complicated. We're going to put that down. We're going to mark that one up. But leaving the EU is underscore, that's complicated. You see, Graham Cullen, look, put the pressures back. I just bought some shake and vac. But there used to be jingle writers years ago. Actual people who were sat down. Their job was to write jingles. And the Shake and Vac team was a jingle writer. There was so many different ads out there they used to play. But put the freshness back. Do the Shake and Vac and put the freshness back. Do the Shake and Vac and put the freshness back. It still stuck with me. That's from the 80s. And the woman dancing and everything. Hi, Bob. It's Ruben O'Ryan for TikTok Live. Come on, Ruben. Well done. Good to have you here. Garrett Talbot says, afternoon, Bob. Don't worry about the channel. I wasn't. They'll come. They will. I know. They'll come in their droves to give out to me about something I've said again. God, that's so funny. So funny when some people who don't like you don't want to talk about you, but they still end up talking about you because you make content they have to talk about. It's good fun in the end. Best wishes, thanks to Jim Shepard. Tip last week, getting available golf instrument cluster fixed. There you go. Go to 220 quid. Booked for 220 is alright for an instrument cluster. They're usually very expensive to do. But we'll have to see how that turns out for the rest of the channel. The rest of the channel coming along is funny. It's funny to see how people react to having their opinions challenged. You know, it's kind of funny when you say something and they know you're right, but they can't say you're right because they don't like you. That's funny. Like I came under fire for my video on the Volkswagen GTX because it's more about the charging infrastructure than it is about the car. Because the car is a 4-wheel drive. It's not a performance car, but it's a 4-wheel drive electric car versus ID4. But essentially, inside, there's no way you're going to be able to tell the difference with that. It doesn't really perform that much different. It doesn't really feel that much different on the road. It's an electric car. You're not going to drive it really hard, and it's built like a bus. So I made it about the charging infrastructure. And I specifically said to charge the infrastructure that it's getting better, but it still has a long way to go. And I got a load of heat over that. And now I see posted all over the place that the charge infrastructure is a disaster, as there's queues in Dundrum shopping centre for the charge points. There's no charge points essentially up in Northern Ireland that are working in Belfast or anywhere. I spoke to a friend of mine the other day who has just bought an electric car and decided to go for a drive, as you do with a new car. Who doesn't go for a drive with a new car, right? Who doesn't do that? So he goes for a spin with the new car. He puts the wife and the kids in to go off for the spin. And they go to Castle Benningham, I think it is, on their way up for a charge. To see how the charger works. They get there. There's a queue. They go, this is not working. Will we just go home? Man, first time out, and then they turn around and go back down and they get charged somewhere else. And then then the following Sunday, they go for their Sunday spin. Wife in the front, man driving, kids in the back. They drive for a bit. They get down somewhere towards Wexford and go to a fast charger. So they do need a charge. To come back, they want to charge. So they pull in, they plug in their fast charger, and they go off for a little stroll around. They get a cup of coffee. They come back. The charger had not charged. The charge had failed. For whatever reason, nobody can tell you what these reasons are, but it just didn't take any charge. The car didn't go in. Could have been user error, could have been charger error, could have been anybody, but it was something happening and it didn't go in. And the wife sighed. The way he tells it, she goes, should have brought my car. Like, where do you go with that? Her car's is a Passat, like a diesel Passat. And he goes, but it's an electric car, it's good. And she just says, yeah, but we wouldn't have to stop if it was a Passat. So you see, there's a lot going on. There's more user experience about stuff than you think there is. People think it's just go electric. It's fine. It's no problem. It isn't a problem until it's a problem. Then suddenly it's a problem again. But it's nice to see people moving to electric for sure. But just when you hear the little stories come out, it is funny when you hear the stories. With EVs needing less service, and soon dealers will go. Dealers are dead. 100% have been predicting this for a good 2 or 3 years now. I only see about 5 years left of dealerships the way they look right now. And brands will just lease the car all inclusive as tech work and say on time save bonuses at the moment. That will go. Everything will go. So if we use the example of Tesla. So now Tesla's a hard one to use because Tesla doesn't have any legacy cars out there. So there isn't a ton of petrol and diesel cars that they've got. Thousands of cars out there. So car companies like BMW, Mercedes, Audi, Skoda, they all have to support the cars that already exist or are made for years and years. But if you take just Tesla as a sort of example of how it could be done, they have one dealership in this whole country. It's not really a dealership, it's an experience centre. And you phone up and you go to the experience centre and you sit in the car and they talk you through all the little things that you have to do. They give you a training course. You're picking your car up on how to charge it, how to use your cars, how to open superchargers, and then off you go. And that's it. You don't see them, they don't see you until somebody says there's something wrong with the car, and then you come back and you get the fix, maybe. But so all you do then is buy the car from the website. You just open a website, you click the things you're looking for, you pay a deposit, and the car goes into the manufacturer, you pay the balance. It's really straightforward. Whereas every other dealership has dealerships, they've signed dealership agreements, and car companies had to spend so much money to help them with advertising, to spend so much money on their signage, and the group themselves had to build new premises and buy land to put the premises on, and there's a lot. So what I predict will happen is that sales will disappear out of dealerships entirely. They'll become service centres and delivery centres. So when you order your car will appear in a dealership, and you go to the dealership to pick it up and have a handover process where a person will talk you through how to run your car, what to do, sign you up to agreements for software updates and so on, and the car will be sent out to you, because everyone's going with software updates over the year. I was sitting at BMW the other day, and they're doing the exact same thing, completely software update. And in actual fact, BMW are moving to a system where you can add options to your car by going to the BMW website and just buying something. So if you wanted active cruise control, it's already fitted to your car, you can turn it on. Just like Tesla's been doing for a while. So this is exactly the way it's going to go. So dealers will disappear, particularly when EVs really pick up, because they don't really need as much heavy lifting to go with it. That'd be the only thing. It's just they still require service, or at least inspections once a year. And some service parts in as well. That's what Bob Sunday Service all exactly, Jim. That's what it is. It's gathering together a group of like-minded individuals who want to sit there and have a little listen to what's been going on, have their question read out, have their question answered, hopefully by somebody in the chat or by myself. And of course, just be people who like cars and just hang around chatting about it. That's what we do. That's what we've done for years now. But this is his own channel now. I will do some SEO on the channel when this one uploads. So when this one is finished, and the live stream ends, it will go on as a thing you can watch back later on, and I'll do the SEO attached to that, and that will bring the SEO channel up, so you will actually be able to search it and find it eventually. I'd say YouTube will want to watch it for probably a couple of weeks. They do this weird thing where the algorithm sort of watches who watches you and what kind of, because I can see it in the analytics when I go in. I can see when someone watches my channel what kind of other channels they watch. So they watch Bjorn Nyland, they watch Nobby on Cars, there's other channels that they move on to or they come into my channel from. So I can see that sort of stuff going on the whole time. But the whole point of this is for mad old lads to get together and just have a chat, and maybe young lads come in and learn something from it. And then there's loads of women who are in the chat, they're watching, but they don't ask questions till they go to Instagram. Heard of Mondeo's going on production next month at the end of an era. That is the end of the Mondeo, yeah. Realistically, I know it sounds like an end of an era, but really, there was no sales on Mondeo. You don't see many of them around. Passats are the same. Everybody's moving into SUVs. Everybody's moving into like Skoda Kodiaqs and those kind of bigger cars. They're the ones that are after now. The kind of humble saloon hatchback, liftback estate car just wasn't finding homes the way it used to. So they're kind of turning them down, turning them off, getting rid of them. We will see more of these fall by the wayside. I think you're going to see a lot more of those kind of cars as the full shift to electric will force car manufacturers to make entirely new models, like this Ford Mustang that Ford are putting out. But Ford were caught they were caught not ready for the electric. Really not ready for electric. They took a long time to switch it on, to get moving, get done. It took so long for them to happen. We'll see how they come out with it though. The Prius guy, I have a Lexus CT200. Oh my god, what a horrible car. But it's hybrid. I am with a Prius running gear. Its bulletproof reliability and warranty is extended out to 10 years provided the service is done once a year. You can't, honest to God, but Toyota said the words, the only car company ever to say to me, we're not in the business of selling batteries. We don't want to sell batteries. We want to put a battery in the car and never see it again. So they just do an inspection on it once a year to make sure it's all okay, it's keeping its temperature and all the things right. There's a new battery electric car coming from Toyota. Looks a bit weird, but I haven't seen the full thing of it yet. I think it looks like the Lexus thing that's been out. So it'll probably be the same. But the CT200, Lexus, Toyota, just bulletproof cars. Always have been. Great to see you still doing a Sunday service. It is, and it's going to be here forever. Its own channel now. It's become that kind of popular. And the problem is people weren't able to search for it on my big channel. They just weren't able to do that, and it was actually affecting the algorithm and the hit rate of the normal videos. As people would come see my channel, my own channel has about 25 million views. Sounds like a lot compared to the kind of 71,000 subscribers, but really people come, they watch the video of the car they're going to buy, then you don't see them again. So they come and they watch the Kia EV6, the Hyundai, whatever it is, or whatever the car is they're looking at, and then they disappear off the channel. So a lot of people will hang around that actually like watching car reviews. They're the ones. So it's the same as any car review channel. They have often a lot more views than subscribers. And then YouTube just don't know how to present a lot of channels. YouTube has lost its way, lads. I'm telling you, YouTube doesn't know what it is anymore. They've got stories. They've got so many bloody ways of making content, and none of it really good for algorithm. YouTube Shorts. I tried making a couple of shorts, but they go up into the main channel. They go onto the main channel content, but they get put out as YouTube Shorts. It just. You need a content host or something, some little manager person to come in and go, yes, I'm going to look after all that. And then I'll make all the content people want. Hi Bob, Germany is soon opening an electrified highway for trucks with overhead cables like trams. Very inspiring, your thoughts. What do you think of our nation's first priority to be to go carbon neutral? I'm not sure. I think carbon neutral is a sort of a, it's like a kind of get out of jail free card, isn't it? It's like we need to be not just carbon neutral, we need to just get rid of carbon entirely. If you burn it, it makes carbon. That's all that's going to happen. Stop burning things is the way sort of the way out of it. There's more to do than just cars, personal cars. So it's good to see trucks doing something else. It's very easy to put in gantries over the top of it. Like trains have been doing that and trams have been doing that forever. Our own DART system has been electric since it was installed. Like we've had electric vehicles all along. But it's nice to see trucks actually trying to do something else, because right now trucks have been doing nothing, essentially nothing in that direction in a big commercial way. And I know it may seem like we do talk about trucks being battery powered vehicles here all the time, but realistically, when you go to Germany and you're driving on the Autobahn and lane 1 is just a wall of diesel Scanias and Volvos and all, that's all you see. Everything moves by truck. Everything moves by truck in Europe. Everything's going to come grinding to a halt now with the price of bloody fuel. But you watch the price of everything shoot up now, lads. Lidl and Aldi will start following suit, and then suddenly you're shopping. We noticed the other day. We went shopping in Tesco's or something, and suddenly it added up to like €70, and we're going, God, that's free. How did it get €70 that easy? And we started analysing the receipt and realised that absolutely everything had gone up by 10 or 15 cent on the receipt, which we knew the price of all along, was just suddenly it was much more expensive. And the same, like we normally wouldn't spend 100 quid a week on food here, maybe 120 or something. But realistically, it just seemed to go up very fast. So we do need to address it, but I still hate the idea of putting all our eggs in one basket and saying that electricity is our only way to go. There's a problem. And then you have Eamon Ryan here blowing the trumpets and saying that gas is where we need to get our electricity from. Gas? Is that not a fossil fuel, or did I just miss the memo on that somewhere? How are we going to swap bogs for gas? I don't understand these people. Stick up a nuclear plant, will you? For God, just go up there to Donegal, off the coast, slap a nuclear plant out in the sea, and then just pipe the electricity in. See, can't be that hard, really. And then we just won't have to worry about it anymore. Monovision. Hi, now you mentioned Volvo. The other day I bought a 940 from a bloke, 940, good car, who has driven Volvo for decades. He just sold his 2020 Volvo V90 cross country after 18 months of ownership. Why did he sell it after 18 months? It's very short. But a 940 is a good car. Volvo used to make really, really nice cars one time. And some of them now, where did I get that one about? Some of them now are becoming classic collectibles. 840, 940s. Any of the old kind of boxy ones, if you see a boxy one, everybody wants the boxy ones. They're really good. Exclusive auto, would it be in the any of mechanics the next 10 or 15 years? There will still be a need. Because, like, some of the oldest cars we have on the road right now, and they get rarer the further back you get, because they're a little more high strung back then. Old, like Jaguar E-types or Lamborghini Countach, they were all kind of high strung cars. They need a lot of work anyway. But more modern cars, if you think back, we have like good cars from the late 80s, early 90s, and then all the way through the 90s into the noughties, where a lot of cars survive in the noughties. But through subsequent trade-in deals and scrappy schemes, that has kind of killed out the 80s cars. So there's very few 80s cars out there. But if you think that 30-year mark, we still have as many mechanics now as we had then, probably a little bit more actually. So we will still have mechanics around, but if you're not retraining to service electric cars, you're going to be left out in the cold as well. Because even like electric cars still have brake pads and brake discs and shock absorbers and the usual kind of gubbins around that braking system underneath, but a lot of them don't really do a lot of braking. Like any electric cars I've driven recently, apart from the Audi ones, have recuperative braking, which means you just lift off your foot off the accelerator and it starts to brake on its own. You don't use friction braking all that much. So even brake pads and brake discs will be sold less and you need less of them. But it'll take a long time for the mechanical end to trickle its way through, as the second-hand market will just do its thing and they'll all end up scrapped eventually. But for sales-wise, dealerships, I wouldn't say there's much of a thing. He told me that time he repaired a 5,200, whatever that is, €7,000 under warranty, including two rear LEDs. Remember the told about ouches? That's, yes. Volvo's modern cars with LED stuff. So people, LED is much better to see about at night time. 1,000,000% better than the old halogen thing. But I have halogen bulbs in that layout out there, and I changed one the other day and it took me about 3 minutes. And it cost me €3.50 for a bulb. Right? It was so cheap, I changed both the headlamp bulbs at the same time. So it cost me in total about £7 to change the two bulbs. But I know it's not just Volvo. If there's an LED bulb that's been put in there from the factory from start, and the bulb stops working or the light stops working, it's the whole lamp needs to be replaced, not just the bulb. So we are going to get things that are better, but actually phenomenally expensive to work with. That's the problem with LEDs. And that's the problem with all of that. It's the problem with all of them, yokes. We think we're doing the right thing by getting better and better and better and better stuff, but actually we're just making it easier to replace, but it's much more expensive because you replace much more of them. It's a bit like, remember the old days where your phone would crash and burn and you had to buy a whole new phone. Now you can just change the glass if you break the glass, but the glass is very expensive on brand new phones. But it's like 20 quid on an old phone. Was just fired that phone there. It's like 20 quid on an old phone. It's an iPhone 6 or something. I use that for monitoring chat. Brian Allen says, change my dim beam to LED bulbs. Will that change back in the NCT as due? No, that's going to, as long as they're level, you'll be okay. And as long as it's the proper registered one. So what people think is LED can often be a halogen burn, or can be some version of it, kind of a bright version of it. Other people put in there is an illegal version of LED stuff. They're super bright and super white and all that sort of stuff. If they're too bright, you can also get a bit of guff from the NCT. But like, all you're going to do is fail, is just change the bulbs anyway. Just change them, come back and take the test again. That's generally what I do with everything. Do nothing to the car, fail the NCT, fix what they said is wrong. That usually works. Amanye, I can't pronounce that. Hi Bob, hope you're doing great. I am so far. I'm planning to get myself a first car. It's much chattier than I thought it was going to be actually today. Thanks very much for everybody joining in. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe now. Let's see if we can get 500 subscribers by the end of the chat. That'd be good, wouldn't it? 500 is a good number, like, for day one. In general, which one's good for car enthusiasts? Usually 407. 407. Alfa Romeo 156, that's going to be good. Mercedes 190D 2.5 Tornado or C220 90 models. The 190D, I love the 190D. Gorgeous looking car. It's boxy, it's square, it's cool, it's lovely. I like that. But I would probably have the 156 out of that, the Alfa Romeo 156. Just because there's you need to have an Alfa. You need to fix an Alfa once in a while. You need to get your hands dirty under the bonnet of an Alfa and get that done. Once you get that out of your way, then you kind of know where you're going with the future of your... If that's not suiting you, and for the 10 minutes that actually works, you want to set fire to the car, then you know you don't like Alphas anymore. And you've done your business then. You're finished. You can move on and buy something reliable. The reliability-wise, the 190D is going to be the most reliable car you ever had. Very little goes wrong. They're really well built back then. Peugeot 407, apart from the suspension, I never really liked anything other than the kind of feel of driving it was pretty good, but the rest of the car just always left me a little bit cold. Always did. Don't know why. Anywhere on Spring Vibes, I'm still planning stuff as well. I don't know what to do with Spring Vibes. I don't know whether you want another Mondello outing, or you'd rather have just like a free event we do something at, or I don't know. It's very hard to figure out what exactly we're supposed to be doing, because some people would say they want another paid event. They want another one in Mondello because it's easy to control. Everybody came in, they all parked, everybody got a chance to do everything and see everything, and they see the racing, and there's a restaurant, and there's toilets, and there's bins, and traffic management is all taken care of. Whereas other people would say, no, we want a big free event that we can all go along to, but they tend to be chaotic because there's just so many cars coming to them. And there are often places that don't have a toilet, or if they do, it's a petrol station and it's not very big, and it's hard to decide exactly what to do with Spring Vibes. But there will be a Spring Vibes. Don't worry, we have to complete the foursome. Sorry if I went out of subject live. No, there's no subject live. We're all here to chat. You're all right. Greg Cullen says analytics. So I also watch tank chats, kings and generals, epic history, etc. So just don't watch everything through the same app and device. Yeah, you watch tank chats. What's tank chats? I wonder what that is now. I see it there. YouTube also drops 20-minute ads and 50-minute videos. I know you can actually buy it. There was a couple of car companies over the years. After I put videos out, I seen that the views are going like through the roof on them. And there was very few comments coming in. I was going, what's going on with these videos? They just seem to be getting loads of views. I'm not worried about views, but normally when you've got like 1,000 views, you'll get 5 or 10 comments out of that, and maybe 10,000 views, you're going to have a couple of hundred comments to read through. But these videos were getting like tens of thousands of views and very few comments. So I investigated and I realized that what the car company does, because they liked the video so much, because I liked the car, they liked the video, that they had put spend behind the video to play it as an ad, right? So I go off and I log in as a different account, and I come back to my own channel looking through, and there's me in the review as an ad on somebody else's channel. So they ring the car company and go, stop doing that. I don't want to be an ad on someone's. And that's not good to me. They don't pay me to that. So it's weird how YouTube operate. But yeah, YouTube will present you a certain amount of ads. They seem to be flooding it right now with ads. I've seen 3 unskippable ads on the front of the latest Delios. I watch sailing channels. And I like SV Delios. And there was 3 unskippable ads in the beginning of that, and then 1 unskippable, no, there was a skip on it in the middle of the video, and then there was nothing else. So there was 4 ads for that 10-minute video, and it's just like, why are you doing that? So many ads. I tried to put some of the videos that I think is going to be popular. I'll put the ad further into the video, way down the back of it. But you can't seem to be able to get rid of the unskippable ad at the beginning. Plus, we want YouTube to pay me. That's me. That's what we want, because that's no cost to you. You just sit through an ad. So it's 0 cost for you. So you should be hoping YouTube pay me. Anyway, trouble with the phrase carbon neutral is when you die, you are cremated, that releases carbon and no one will be allowed to die. That's the thing. If you want to get rid of it, you can't burn it anymore to do carbon neutral. Also, carbon neutral means you're not putting out any more carbon. There's a neutrality point. A lot of car companies talk about these neutrality points where you produce, where you consume as much carbon as you're producing. So you're using scrubbers and things to quell the amount of carbon coming out, but you're still actually producing carbon. You're just not putting out any more than you already consume. That's neutral. Carbon negative is where we actually want to be. We want things that are absorbing carbon to take carbon out of the system. But then carbon's always been in the system, so it's kind of hard to say what's going to happen when we take carbon out of the system. Like a volcano puts out an inordinate amount of carbon worldwide. Like we've had meteor strikes on Earth that have blotted out the sun in the 1500s. It was written about, like in 1500s, there was no sun for 12 months. Like nothing, just darkness. So yeah. Jared is here as well. Good man, Jared. Bob, do you reckon we see this Dublin Metro in our lifetime? No. By the time it's built, Jared, we'll need something else. It's like building the M50 and only put in 2 lanes. And then when everybody complains it's not big enough, they go, it is big enough. It's just the exits aren't big enough. And they put in a 3rd lane and it's still not big enough. So they could set out to build a Dublin Metro today, and by the time they finish it, it'll be useless to us because it won't be big enough or won't be capable enough. What we really need is proper proactive moves. And if the government had any sense, they would build on property they already own. What I mean by that is, why haven't we got a Lewis thing up and down the M50? Why does it just go along on the edge of the hard shoulder? Just widen it a little bit, put in a track, and there you go. Lewis is on the M50. I see this thing that happens in all other European countries. You go to other European countries, you'll see a little tram running down the motorway right beside you. It's so easy. We seem to make it so hard on ourselves. We plan and we plan and we plan and we plan permission. We can't do this, we can't go here, we have to turn it here, we have to go to... It just seems to take so long to get anything achieved. And that's why China is absolutely murdering the world at the moment, because they don't ask permission, just build it. And I know that's not the right way either. But unless we start competing, there'll be nothing left in Dublin. Because we just keep building everything in Dublin. Everything. We build jobs in Dublin. We build houses in Dublin. We never have enough. It'll never be enough until we build upwards and do it properly. And actually build on behalf of the pedestrian and stop building on behalf of the car. That's another part of it. They just rebuilt a road here in Portlaoise with a brand new path with cobblestone parking for cars, a whole lot. There's no cycle lane. Did no one even think of this? For just 2 seconds, did anybody go, but what about a cycle lane? Would there be not a good point there? Just put a cycle lane beside. No, just build a new path. And you go, but there was a path there already. Why are you building another path on top of the path? What was wrong with the path that was there? Why can't you build something else? Just this very slow, old-fashioned, old men running the country, and that's exactly what we have right now. And that's why Dublin Metro isn't already built. Why they keep concentrating on the Lewis. Those old Volvo cars with bricks on wheels, they were huge things, weighed a fortune. Weighed a ton, cost a fortune to run, but they were really good and they were huge. Is Geely Holding Group going to let Volvo down the drain after learning from decades of research and the safety knowledge, etc., and implication of its own brands? Yes. I know that sounds like something I'm very sure of, but I am 100% sure by the end of this year, in the beginning of next year, we will start to see more and more Chinese brands being released directly to the European market, directly competing with what they call legacy brands, with BMW, Mercedes, Audi, Volvo. Everyone will be hit in the head, and you're going to see that come back in from China. We have accepted Chinese brands in Europe now for a decade. A good, honest, weird name Chinese Xiaomi and Samsung and all these other brands out there that are all being built in China and moved over here. MG we've accepted pretty good as well, and that is a complete Chinese brand. They just bought the brand name MG. And you're going to see Volvo, which is owned by Geely Motors. Geely's going to bring out their own cars. They've already brought out their own cars a couple of times, but they're going to start releasing that stuff into Europe. And when that happens, you're going to find some of the European car companies will just go to the wall, because they will not be able to compete with the volume of brands that are coming. I would suggest that MG, who released 2 cars almost immediately, just went, there's 2 cars. These are good. Go try them. I would suggest that you're going to find someone like Dongfeng or Brilliance, or someone will come and they'll make a car and it'll look good, it'll be okay, and they'll just release thousands of them, and they'll make like that overnight. They just produce till the market is flooded with them, and they'll just run the second-hand market into the ground, because they'll just flood the market with cars, and they'll flood them so quick and it'll be so affordable that there'll be no way back out of it. It's just going to be impossible for us to keep up, for the European brands to keep up. Jim Shez says, elected TDs have always been afraid to make decisions such as Dublin Metro. When the Port Tunnel was built, instead of 2, there should have been 3, with Lewis Line running alongside. 100%. We keep building things for the private vehicle without ever thinking that we could very easily build something for the public to get around. The purpose of public transport is to get people to a place for work or for enjoyment, is to make your population be able to move around and enjoy themselves. Now, I would maintain that public transport should never make a profit, and in actual fact should be completely free for citizens to use. So if you really want to encourage people to use a public transport, then make it free. Just turn it off. Turn off the money, stop trying to make money from it, and invest the money into moving your population from place to place in an affordable, sustainable way. Then you will actually cut the CO2 emissions. If I thought that I could take a bus from Dublin to Portlaoise and it wasn't going to cost me anything, I'd choose the bus. Why wouldn't you? It's free. Of course you would. It's the same as the trains. The cars would all get left at home or sold, or you drop down all that carbon emissions completely if you just had free public transport. And you could invest heavily in making sure that anything that's not out there, that's not on a train line, is invested properly with good buses, and people can take the bus anywhere they want to go. Multiple other European countries do it already. Totally free infrastructure, totally free trams. They get their people around the city efficiently and at almost zero cost to carbon, because obviously a bus with 60 people on it is putting out very little carbon in comparison to 60 cars driving on the road. So it's quite a simple feat to do. All you have to do is stop trying to make profit out of public transport and start doing something for your actual citizens. That's what the whole idea of TDs in the first place is, to mind the citizen. That's it. That's all for. Represent the citizens and everything. Have a bit of rust on my car beside the jack pad and the structure still there, but would it pass the NCT? Rust doesn't fail the NCT. Structural integrity will. So if they were to tap away at the rust and the hammer goes through it or the finger goes through it, that's a fail, because that's obviously rotten. But rust on its own, a little spot of rust or something, it's not going to be a big deal. No. There's spots of rust on my car already and nobody bothered them. Brian is pointing out there that the LEDs are EU certified. We have a standard. If it's on sale in this country, it's been certified to be on sale in this country. That's how everything works. They all do the same thing. Thank you very much for the donation by PayPal. I can't see where your name is. Hold on. I think it's Jan. Hi Jan. Thank you very much for your donation by PayPal. You're very kind. There are links down below if you want to mind the channel in a good way. You can get on to Patreon, which is a good one. You can join the channel memberships. I think there is channel memberships. There might not be one on this channel, but there's certainly a Patreon link down below. And you can send money directly by PayPal if you want to as well. You want to do that? Patreon is cheaper, but you just do it over time. But the rest of them, then the PayPal one is just a one-hit wonder, so you can do that as well. But thank you very much for your donations. It's very good of you to mind the channel again and keep it going, because it doesn't survive without you. To be honest with you, YouTube are useless at paying out money because they don't show many ads. They really don't. If you were watching, say you watched a video before mine, you've seen an ad on that video, and then you come to my channel and you watch a video, they might not show you an ad at all. Zero, because you watched one already. So I get nothing. But if you watched a video of mine and then you watched another video of mine and you watch an ad between the two of them, I get paid more because you're considered to be binge watching my channel. So it's good for the channel. Anyway, we have a 2006 Peugeot 406 Estate, which has been less than 30 miles on it. 30 miles? Jesus. Has been misbuilt, donated to college now. Non-turbo, left-hand drive, UK, should have been turbo diesel and right-hand drive. Weird. Peugeot used to make really good cars to drive years ago. They just seem to have lost their way. They're coming back. Some of the stuff they have now is pretty good. The 508, the fast one, that looks pretty good. I think I have that in a few months. I'm not sure. I don't seem to be getting as fast, high up the food chains used to be on the old Peugeot stuff. To put that to a different thing. Hi Bob, instead of the Prius, tempted to go for a used BMW i3. i3 is going to be a massive collector's car. You're not going to get them very cheap anymore. Take my advice right now. If you want to invest in a future classic, in about 30 years time, that i3 will go for big money. Very short run on that. But the i3 it's definitely going to be a future classic. It's something you're going to look back at in 30 years time and go, that changed the way we looked at electric cars. And it somewhat failed and yet succeeded at the same time. But it is a really good car. Yeah, just check the battery's okay. If you can get one with a range extender, you're probably not going to be able to get that. But if you get one with a range extender, it's really good. It's a little motorbike engine to boot. But they're pretty good, yeah. If it's mostly city driving, i3s are good. I know, lads, one of the regular users here had an i3 for 2 years. Used to do huge, but 50,000 kilometers a year in it, like. And he made it work. On the subject of YouTube, I pay for YouTube Premium. Love not having ads. Just wondering if YouTube pay you for that view compared to somebody who watches that. Yeah, I do, Michael Joyce. Yeah, you still do. You actually get a little bit more from someone who uses Premium, watches your stuff. So you still get a good cut of it. You actually get a little bit more because some people have ad blockers on. And YouTube Premium doesn't matter whether you have ad blockers or not. You're not going to see any ads anyway. So you don't miss the view. So if somebody has a good ad blocker on, and I know I've seen loads of ad blockers do their thing. Yeah, please, yeah. I've seen loads of ad blocker things do their thing. And what happens is I get the view, but you don't get any money because they watch no ads. So the YouTube Premium thing does actually break it down in analytics somewhere how often. I do get quite a few premium viewers. But the metrics are so weird on YouTube. It's like how long have they watched the video for as a percentage of watch time per video. So if the video is 10 minutes long and you only watch 2 minutes of it, that's not good. That's not even considered a view. You won't get much money out of it. If the video is 2 minutes long to watch all the 2 minutes, it's the same problem. If the video is too short, and it's just so many different metrics. I don't think anyone knows what's happening on YouTube lately. I don't think even YouTube knows what it's doing. But they are slowly ruining themselves because obviously TikTok is like laser focused on video content, 15 seconds long or 1 minute or 3 minutes if you want as well. And that's it. They've absorbed tons and tons and tons of views and eyes. And so far it's killed off like Facebook. Facebook are 380 billion down, or Meta, the company or something, on ads just moving over to TikTok. And YouTube is in trouble as well. But if YouTube focused on what YouTube was good at, which is putting up user videos in a television format, so in 1080p, in wide format, and just focused on being that, I think they'd have a better chance. The problem is they want to be a TV channel. So they don't actually want to interact with people. What they want to do is to take RTE's Late Late Show and put that on YouTube and serve that out, because they don't have to worry about it, because they know it's been monitored already as to whether it's acceptable for television practice or not. So they don't have to send the algorithm out to assess, is it clean, is it content, is it made for kids. They don't do any of that, and that's why they favour television over user-generated content. And no matter how long you've been making content as well, I've never had a copyright strike. I've never had a complaint on the channel. In the 10 or 12 years I am on YouTube, I've never had a successful claim against me about anything. I've never made any content for kids. I've never, none of that stuff. But yet they put no weight on your channel being trustable. They don't trust you at all. Every time I upload a video, I still have to fill in the same form going, none of these things are in my video. Don't deal with any of those subjects. I still have to do it every time. Sign an agreement for every single video. So it is still a bit of a pain to still make the user experience here really difficult. Daryl says, hi Bob, what do you think is happening to classic car culture when everything goes electric? I think some of the electric cars will get good. So problem is we're missing some of the electric cars that are out are crap to drive, right? They're just replacements for transport. They're pure things to get you from home to work and back again. They're not meant to be engaging. They got a nice few options on them. People, I think, because a lot of people are coming out of older cars into these new cars, but there are some rare ones among them that are actually pretty good. And so they'll end up being collected. We're just changing to where we were before, but the classic car culture will never end. The true vintage car lads out there have just either no interest in electric cars whatsoever, or they buy an electric car because it's cheaper to tax and cheaper to run, and they keep their classic collection. There's loads of that around, but we will get more useful electric cars out there that would be, and not useful, they're all useful, but more I suppose more collectible type cars in the future. Very much depends on battery technology, but I wouldn't be buying a Gen 1 Nissan Leaf to collect it, even though it was different from everybody else. Just the batteries won't hold up much on them. Tank Chat's a documentary series produced by the Bovingdon Tank Museum. They started pre-lockdown but upped their video content to try and earn cash with the museum closed to visitors. I never even heard of it. I should have a look at this. I recommend if you like armoured vehicles. I like Ways of Making You Talk podcast, which is very good. It's all about Second World War. I can't remember the man's name that's on it that does he's a comedian. It's not a comedian. He does the pub landlord comedian. That's very good. Definitely worth to have a listen to. If you're interested in anything to do with Second World War, it's very good. They talk about battles and people in the battles and stuff. It's just really, really good the way there's tons of information come at you very fast, but you learn an awful lot about it. Not that I have any particular interest in Second World War. It's just I like it. The podcast is pretty good. And I listened to Tommy and Hector this morning on a run. Went out and did a 5k. I had to stop twice, Tommy and Hector. I had to stop twice in my run for laughing. I had to stop and pull over. I couldn't keep going. Feckers made me laugh properly this morning. So Tommy and Hector, they do a really good podcast. Athlone have an one-way system. Have to have all the way around the town just to get to the other side of the other one. I know I did it. I was down there visiting a friend of mine not maybe 2 or 3 months ago, and you put it into the sat nav and you find I'm not even in Athlone anymore. How do you do this? Out in the motorway trying to go around the edge of Athlone, because the whole thing is one way now. To go through the centre of Athlone, you don't even in from one side. Really weird layout, but if it works. Athlone has always had problems with traffic. It's a very old town. They can't do much with the bridges and things on it because the bridges are built over to Shannon, so it's kind of hard to get things built around there. So I suppose the only thing they could do is make the whole thing one-way system. And then we should be getting rid of traffic out of towns anyway. I think Saab will come back. Yes, Saab will come back. Saab was bought, I think, last year by a Chinese company, as I thought it was going to happen. Saab will be bought by a Chinese company. Come back as an electric car, I'd say, if they have any sense. But the problem is some of the bits have to be wrestled off of GM still, because they still own little bits of Saab. So, and then you can't make new cars the way Saab used to make old cars, over engineered stuff. There's a cost metric that goes with that. Just cannot be done anymore. You can't do that now. You've got to make cars in some way profitable, otherwise no point. NIO, Chinese electric car brand, already entered Norway. I'd love for you to test and review it. If we get it down here, we will. NIO, I've seen NIO. That's just the start of it. That is only literally the very little tiny tip of what's going to happen in China in the next while. There is a total revolution on coming with their technology. Their ability to make battery technology in a very rapid sense is already happening. They already supply a ton of battery technology worldwide, and they also have one of the biggest cobalt mines in the world, second only to the Congo, who has the biggest cobalt mine. So there's huge moves going on right now in China. Chinese, as we predicted here, they economically invade countries. So they'll economically invade Europe with the car industry. They already did it with phones and technology, laptops, anything that runs on Google Android or Chrome network is all built in China. They're already doing it. I was in a hotel the other day in Spain, and the shampoo that's in the shower thing was made in China. The bottles all made in China, in Spain. Like, you're going, they could make a little plastic bottle over there. But again, you need to get rid of that kind of plastic bottle thing. That's got to go. Imagine all the millions of COVID tests, all plastic. Every one of them made in China. Every one of them. All the ones that get sent here. Every time there's someone in my daughter's class gets COVID, we get sent another 5 COVID test things. It just comes out instantly. So we have loads of them downstairs. If anybody needs a COVID test, I have a few downstairs. But they're all Chinese. Every single one of them are made in China. So everything is made in China now. The R3 is like the DS, too far ahead of its time. The range extender idea, best type of hybrid. Basically the same method for the old diesel electric trains. I love the range extender one. It was very expensive because that thing in the boot was like a $5,000 option, which is I think it was an upside down BMW motorbike engine put into the boot. It didn't do anything to the boot, but you could hear it ticking over. It was just start up, and that engine wouldn't run the car. It was charging the battery enough to make you keep on going on your journey. Genius idea. But it was years ahead of its time. The only thing I didn't like was the doors opening backwards. I know it's a cool design feature, but put your kids in and out, it's like, it was a pain. Oh, there's the wife now. What have we got now? Oh, ginger, is it? Ginger. I can smell. Whew. Is that the Twinings one? Pucka one. We bought a Pucka one. That's like, boom, it's like a slap in the face, that one with the ginger. It's lovely. But that's pretty good. We're getting through it. Look at that. 15-19, lads. We've done well. For the first day this channel's been back doing this sort of stuff, or this channel's ever had a broadcast, we're done well on the old live stream, aren't we? We're all right. Anyway, Jim says the 2007 Saab 9.5 Aero, one of the gorgeous car ever. 9.5 Aero is just a beautiful machine. To look at, to sit in. It even had that night button, didn't it? You press the night button and it just shut everything down apart from the speedo. Nothing to do with flying a plane, but just brilliant. Saab didn't even make planes. They made engines or something for planes. I don't think they ever made any planes. But they had the whole jet fighter. They still try and sell cars, planes and watches. Have you ever seen that? When you're coming into some airport, you see an ad up in the thing, and it's like some guy with a watch, he's holding his watch up like this, and in the background there's a BMW, then there's a jet plane. Like owning this watch, being able to get a private jet as well when you're at it. Anyway, RA YouTube Premium, if you got VPN to India, you can get it for $150 a month instead of €15 a month. Get YouTube Premium Family and share with 6 family members for 25 cents per month with no ads. Lads, this is how you do it. You get the contacts, and the contacts give you all the ways to do. So just VPN your way into India for $150. Why is it 15 quid a month in Europe? Anybody ever questioned this? Why is 15 quid here but only $150 in India? What's the difference like between Indian? I suppose Indian wouldn't have quite as much content maybe. But yeah, there's how you get your YouTube Premium now. You just pay $150 a month and never see an ad again. I don't know if there's unique premium content. Maybe there is. Maybe YouTube makes some premium content directly just for you, as well as the getting rid of the ads thing. That's a genius idea, George. Need to go to VPN. I have Windscribe somewhere. Is that good? Is that a good one? It was free, and then I signed up for something else, and I got like 15 gigabytes free of it. Jim, a 2000 Saab 9.3, very comfortable car, any sort of journey. Saab over-engineered everything. They made the cars incredible things, just incredible things. And I remember when I was working in Moores years ago. God, I don't even know what year that was. Could have been 2003 or something. There was a Saab 9.3 traded in, Saab 9.5 Aero traded in, and I drove it home one night, and it was like driving a fighter jet. Just beautiful thing, just wafted along the road. But then when you put your foot down, the noise, it was lovely, really good, really, really good. Especially by reverse gear to start. I mean, what was that? I don't know. And then they put remember they put the key in the middle. You have to put the keyhole off down here and click it. It was very weird. They had strange ideas in cars. Al Murray, Correctamundo, does the We Have Ways of Making You Talk podcast. It's actually really good. It's like a high energy podcast, There's a bit of a laugh, bit of a joke in it, and it just seems to knock it out of the park every single time. And it's been around for a long time, Ways of Making Dollars. It's been around, this podcast I listen to for years now. But they have a great way of describing things, and it's a good, easy to listen to podcast. There's so many podcasts around right now. I should start a channel that reviews podcasts, because there's just so many bloody podcasts you can have out there right now. Lock the gearbox can't be stolen, correct. Put it in the rear drive, or put it in reverse and you're done. Saab will return with an E95 or something. Won't have it at mad Swedish background, no. But the brand name will return, just like MG did. That's where the Neo is going to come into as well. Norway has the biggest market right now for electric cars. They say it's because of incentivization, and some of that's true. A lot of it's to do with the fact that Norway is an incredibly wealthy country. They are so wealthy. They have tons of money up there. They have a shared system for the oil that they export, which everybody ignores the fact that Norway is one of the biggest oil exporters in the world. So they export all the oil to put into your nice little petrol and diesel cars up there. And then they all buy electric cars. They don't buy the petrol and diesel cars. They want you to buy the oil for the petrol and diesel cars. But they all get a share of that. So every citizen in Norway has a share of their oil sales. That's why they have so much money. Well, that's not the only reason, but it's one of the reasons they have a lot of money. And they have a big incentivization program up there for electric cars as well. And now it's just become, there's a break point. If you look out the window and you see your neighbours about electric cars, and the neighbours across the road have, and the people up the road, and then you go to school or work and your workmates are all buying electric cars, then that break point happens in your mind. You go, well, I better buy an electric car then, I suppose. So it kind of trickles on in that respect. So eventually we'll have enough electric cars on the road that there will no longer be a need for advertising or pressure groups or people to kind of go, when are we going to get more electrification going? It'll just all disappear, because there will only really be that kind of electric car on the road, or PHEV version, or it'll all settle back into itself eventually. That's all it, eventually. Give it enough time. All these things come around all on their own. Whenever I say that, people never believe me as well. They always sit back and go, well, new DS4 is a lovely car, actually. I had the EDS4, I think I had here recently. It was a really nice car, good looking thing, and really nice to drive. But the range is just a tiny bit short. But for general driving on a daily basis, you would definitely do that. Some of the other podcasts I mentioned that as well. Jim Shed, thank you very much, Jim Shed, for donations as well. All the donations are coming in at the moment. Thank you very much. You're very kind to be donating all these things. But it does keep the lights on. Keeps the channel going. We are at the highest point of inflation and depleting ever. It's still going to continue going up as well. It's just, I think it's going to get, we're actually going to get worse on the inflation. I don't think the inflation is not going to end too soon. It's going to kick on fairly rapidly. And I think that's going to be a bit of a problem for some people out there right now. A lot of people will be okay because we made a bit of money during lockdowns, and there'll be enough to carry some people through this. But I think we're going to be in a point very shortly where we won't be able to afford anything. And we had recent minimum price alcohol come in as well, which means now, I was actually looking in Tesco's last night, there wasn't a single bottle of wine in for less than $7.49 or $7.50 or $7.51, something like that. They all seem to be like €8 or €9. Lidl and Aldi were the very same. Beer is very expensive now. So like, there's lots of things that have moved in price. They were moving anyway, not to do with inflation. We're just going into minimum price alcohol, which is the problem. What's this like now? Oh, that's not bad, yeah. That's quite nice, actually. There's a little bit of honey in it as well. It's good for the throat. Try the Twinings too, bright and zesty, no milk, very nice cup of. Yeah, I've been looking around at all the kind of. I started with green tea. Green tea is a bit like drinking something with socks in it. You know what I mean? It's got a funny flavour, but I like it. But it's got a kind of funny flavour, and so I started looking around at some more of the herbal teas, because I think I drink too much caffeine. So I'd give it more. Tea is my thing in the morning. Cup of tea. I have to have a cup of Barry's tea in the morning, or I'll murder somebody. But I have been known to hop into the car to go to the airport at 4 o'clock in the morning and not bring anything with me, and I'll murder people in the airport when I get there if there's no coffee on. But if I stay in a hotel, I have to have coffee in the morning, and I kind of weird at that. But the next thing I'll have will be a couple of cups of coffee, and then I won't really drink a whole lot more caffeine the rest of the day. But I want to get rid of one of the cups of coffee, so I only have a cup of tea and a cup of coffee in the morning. That's it. No more than that. So I need to replace it with something. But it's very hard to replace things. John Gerard says, why are mainstream journalists pushing EV cars? If you watched the Tonight Show the other night, they said expensive outlay is worth marketing saving practice. Well, okay, so every car company is pushing electric cars, and so everybody, all the journalists, are just reporting what the car companies are pushing. We are kind of moving into a position where electric cars will succeed, but there's so much reliance on happening around EVs, and a lot of the people who are reporting on EVs, journalist wise, have a vested interest in EVs. Either they sell them, or they sell accoutrements for them, or they sell cables for them, or they have a friend that sells stuff for them, or they own a business that's trying to match people to electric cars. Or there's always some sort of I always find it. There's always something. When you find a journalist who just goes, no, I only like EVs all the way, they're doing it for a purpose. Now, there's a couple of UK channels that went all EV recently, and they don't really have any vested interest. They're just smelling it coming, that it's all going to go EVs anyway. But I actually think that all channels will eventually have been completely EVs. And I don't see why anyone, the journalist, should really just push all the PHEVs and all the BEVs now into a corner and go, I'm not reviewing any more petrol diesel cars. Are going to review these, because the petrol and diesel cars is where all the technology is, steering, handling, braking. It's all there, so you kind of figure out which is better than that. How electric cars are not as good to drive as this car. It's nothing to do with the fuel, just not as good to drive, and balance and weight and where things are. So mainstream journalists pushing EVs is very easy for them to do, because they're not car journalists. They're just going, wow, look at the tech behind that. It's like me reviewing, I don't know, Samsung phone. I don't know anything about it, but I'm still going to just go, wow, it's deadly, isn't it? See, you have to do a bit of research. But unless you're a reviewer, which I am, so I look at things slightly differently from everybody else. So you just kind of wander in and start, going, that's crap, because it should work like this. It doesn't make any sense, you know what I mean, for that to work. Thank you, Dara, as well, who's donated by PayPal. Thank you very much. You can do it by Patreon as well if you want to sign up on Patreon. It's only a couple of quid a month, and that's a Bourse channel, which means I get to talk to this even about other channels, which I think is part of it. I think to make all the journalists be uplifted, sometimes you have to point out, going, I think you should probably do it this way. If we all did it this way, it'd be so much easier. We'd have so much power if we all did this. But what I find in Ireland is you reach a level in Ireland and then suddenly everybody hates you because you're too big. Who's this lad think he is? That happens a lot. The new Kia EV6 is 50 grand minimum after the grant. I think it is, yeah, 50 and 56 or something. That's an average family car. Who can afford it, especially with energy crisis? These green car journalists, not you, talk nonsense. I won't say nonsense. A lot of green car journalists, or ones who only report on electric cars, get their information from the car company rather than from listening to other journalists or listening to other individuals talk about it. So, and they all seem to have, I every time I look at someone and they just do electric stuff, or they just do a very narrow field, they usually have a very high vested interest in it. And I don't think, like, I wouldn't say that we should have a car company representative who works for a car company, if you know what I mean. So if the dealer, like the SIMI, who represents everyone in the car industry, they represent dealers as well as represent the mechanics and representing there's too much of that going on. That doesn't make any sense. So for journalists to be represented, they need to have people who are not necessarily just narrow fielded or have no vested interest. That's what a journalist should be, is someone who has no vested interest one way or the other, what way the outcome is. So for me, and I've said it for years, I don't care if you don't buy a new car. That's not why I'm here. I'm not here. I don't sell anything. I don't sell cars. I don't sell cables or plugs or wires or wall boxes. I don't sell any of that stuff. I don't really care. And when you ask me, I'll tell you someone who does sell it, but I don't get paid for that. There's no reference for that. So like, if you want to install a wall box, just call EV Ready. They install my wall box. So that's it. It's not because I get any finance on that. So there is an element behind it all of a lot of journalists who aren't really journalists. They're just kind of doing their thing, trying to build a name for themselves. but in the background they're working on something else, and it usually ends up being not a journalist thing to be doing. I don't really have anything in the background working on. I just do cars. I just review cars and then do an odd meet here and there. That's it. Opinion on Mercedes GLB 7-seater. Mercedes GLB. I always get the Mercedes names mixed up terribly. They have so many different names for everything. The GL though would be a big yoke, and it's 7-seater. So older Mercedes always had problems underneath with rust. Always older ones. So the further back you go, the more rusty they get very quickly. But it's a 7-seat car. Is it really a 7-seat car, or do you have to cut the bottom half of your legs off to fit in the back seat? Most of those other ones are like that as well. Have you seen the new Lexus RZ? Looks well. Shared to the Facebook group. It does look well. Lexus are doing very good things. I have an ES next week, which I've had before, and I haven't even put the bloody review up of it because I've so many reviews filmed, but I haven't put the whole in. You can only put out so many a week. You can't put out like 3 in a week. YouTube will demote the channel and everything. So I can do 2 and I can do 1 the week after, and then, you know what I mean? But I have reviewed the Lexus ES, and if you haven't driven one, lads, I promise you, go along to a Lexus dealership and ask for a go on the Lexus ES F Sport. It's such a lovely car to drive, and it's a hybrid, 2.5 litre petrol. I know it's a 2.5 litre petrol. I get it. I know it'll be all high CO2s and all that crap, but it's still a bloody good car. Very hard to beat a good car, you know. But the Lexus RZ does look very good. There is full electric cars coming from Lexus and Toyota this year. They'll all be on the market, and it'll be really, really good stuff to see them coming. But they still maintain that hybrid is the way that we should be working. PHEVs and hybrids is what they say we should be doing now, not full electric. Lexus and Toyota have both said that the world is not ready for full electric because we don't have the infrastructure for it. There's also no way out. It'd be like if we went all diesel, which diesel wasn't always a fuel. Diesel was an engine. I put up a video about Rudolph Diesel. You might have seen it. But diesel is not a fuel. Diesel is now a fuel, but it was only just an engine. But if we'd have gone all in on diesel, which we nearly did, and then we would have discarded all the petrol engines. So that we're at the same thing again. We're just doing it now with electric. And I think we need a sort of relief valve. We can't just give all the power to ESB. Just give all the power to, Ionity or whatever. That's where all our fuel is going to be now. Like I see Apple Green are kind of holding out at the moment about putting in electric charge points because they're not being paid enough to do it, and they're dead right. And that's what it comes down to. They have the market area, people coming to filling up their cars there, petrol and diesel, and they don't want to give over any spaces for electric charge points. And they're right if they want it. It's a private business; they can do whatever they like. So I suppose that's it. I see talk of compulsory orders, but like if ESB networks were to get together with everybody else who's putting electric charge points in and actually build an electric car charging station that isn't Apple Green, just a car charging station in the town, should solve all the problems. What's the hold up? Like, sort it out. Anyway, ginger and lemon tea, Bob. I'm on it. Love it. Aldi, Lidl, Tesco, all ones. They are very nice. This one is whatever my wife said it was, and it's really nice. There is a hint of lemon off. It's Manuka honey that's in it. There's not quite enough ginger, I think. Just I like a big whack of ginger. I actually like ginger in cooking as well. just rub it in on a little what do you call it, a grater thing. Minimum alcohol pricing in Scotland only reflected the dog lager and the lighter fluid sold as vodka. I saw it's cheap political stunt as younger generation drinking way less than now. Yeah, there's an element of that. Minimum price alcohol. I can see what a benefit might be in it to some degree, right? So the people who are buying a crate of beer per week and drinking it every single day, well, they're going to pay more, so they might drink less. And I can see that drinking is responsible for an awful lot of queues at problems at hospitals and the weekends and stuff. And I get all that, but realistically, what you've really done is put pricing on people, me and you, who don't really cause any problems. We get an old bottle of wine here and there. We get, we don't drink a whole lot anyway. We just make, now it's just more expensive. We're going to drink the same amount, but it's going to cost more. For instance, the Merlot 120Y, which I quite like, it's in Aldi or Lidl. At Christmas time, we bought a case of that, and we could buy a case of it. It ended up being $4.95 or something a bottle. Now it's €9. So it's gone like through the roof. It's very hard to see where we're going to end with that one. If we keep meddling all the time with the price of stuff, like it stopped people smoking when it reached 12 quid, but people just moved to vaping. That's the only thing that happened. Sorry for the record. Don't worry about it. We like rants. And I think you're right with a lot of car journalists out there who call themselves journalists or even say that their channel is about doing this, or their outlets about looking after this or doing independent this, that and the other, when they're not really the independence is not really there. It's to reinforce in your mind as if they're doing a totally independent review, but they're actually really blinkered. Like if I was handed a Samsung phone right now to review, I would probably go and try and find a load of Android phones so I compare and contrast all of the Android phones, not just the one that give me, all of them. Same with iPhones, same with anything that's given to me. I always try and get a broad spectrum of how all this fits into the big overall run at it. So that's the problem with electric cars. A lot of people who are reviewing electric cars or getting electric cars for test or keeping them for a week or whatever don't really drive a lot of other cars. So there's no real experience with other stuff. It's just take it verbatim that the car they have is the best car they've ever had. The Kia EV6 is only £41,000 in the UK, with regards to India and VPNs. Dacia's Spring sells as Tata Nexion in India, £6,046. It's 22.5 grand in Europe. Would you drive a Tata? Have you seen the crash results of a Tata thing? It's just above riding a motorbike. It just has a roof on top of it. But I suppose some of the most dangerous roads in the world are in India, according to statistically speaking. So I imagine there's an element of wanting anything that is better than what they've already got to keep them safe on the road. But the EV6 being £41,000, and then you look at the Indian price for a Tata Nexion, £6,046. It's very reasonable, isn't it? Graham says, generation, they also have more teetotalers than any other previous generation, but then they vape. That's a lot of young people don't drink. I met a group of lads in the gym the other night, young lads, and I'd say they were aged between 16 and 21, give or take. All kind of GA types, all there to train. They don't drink. They don't smoke. They don't vape. They don't do anything. They don't go to the pub. These lads are going to be GA stars, and they work out every day, and they're built like they're built, and they look great. And it's weird to see, because I grew up with the opposite of that. Every young lad that I grew up with ended up drinking themselves under the table, because that's what everybody did. That's the truth. I don't think there was even a gym when I was growing up. So it's the flip over to the fitness end of things is absolutely huge, but the problem is there's a lot of young people getting left behind. A lot of young people getting stuck there in the past, and they're growing up with bad influences, and they're growing up with bad groups that just isn't influencing the way they should be doing. And that's where we all need to kind of bring them all in. And this industry would be one of those industries. Young people in this industry would be, it's a very heavily male industry, and it's also a very, I suppose, risk-taking industry, because we look at motor racing and car racing and banger racing and stuff, and it's all very heavy testosterone level stuff. I suppose some of that needs to go away as well. Do you hear rumours new Toyota Supra coming at manual gearbox? Yes, there is. It actually will look a little different from the current Supra, the M4 or BMW 4 Series. Is it 4 Series or something that's based on? But there will be a manual gearbox in it, because the Toyota Yaris GR comes with a manual gearbox, so they're going to move the GR range to be in itself. So they have the Yaris GR, Super GR, and they will be both manual spec stuff. That will be coming, I think, later on this year. It's not going to be far away. They're not going to go wild with it, because the sales of the Supra is actually going pretty good for them. Even in this country, there's a few Supras around. My Supra is in Cork now. I actually have word with Toyota that I would love to know what they're going to sell that off at before they sell it. I might be able to do something about buying it, because I really wanted to buy that Supra, but then they sold it down to the Cork. Never told me anything about it. It's fine, it's okay, don't worry about it, it's fine, I don't need a Supra, it's alright. The all-new Qashqai 1.3 mile hybrid SVE is 50 grand. So wouldn't this, in comparison to an EV6 making a high-spec EV, not so bad? I know, there's the thing, you see, the price of everything is going up, but what they've done is they've made the price of ICE cars more expensive, so it looks like EVs are reasonably priced. But it's not the price of the EVs is a problem in my mind. That they're always been too expensive. They've been too expensive for years. It's the price of everything else that right now. Where is the 10 grand cheap new car that the retired couple used to buy? Where's the 25 grand family hatchback car that the dad would buy or the mother would buy for the whole family and everybody? They're all disappearing. They're all vanishing, and everything's moving into the €30,000 bracket and above. And now you're starting to push in with the standard, the bread and butter of everything. Used to be the cash guy, sold tons of them, and now it's 50 grand. Like that's a lot of money in anybody's world. Like cars. There was a time when cars were a year's wages. You know what I mean? So if you got paid 25 or 30 grand a year, a car would be 25 or 30 grand. But now we're still getting paid 35 grand. The industrial wage is 35 grand, but a car is 50 grand. So now it's a year and a half's wages, or nearly 2 years' wages. You know, for a car, that's a big investment for a thing that just devalues. Carly McCormick says, how about behind a driver driving at 60 kilometers an hour for 8 kilometers? Oh my God, I killed someone. 100 kilometer an hour speed limit, couldn't overtake, no opportunity. I'm a calm driver with head wrecking. I would be the very same, Caroline. There is absolutely nothing worse in this whole world than being stuck with someone in front of you who is a super careful driver and just trundling on the road, mind their own little business. And all you want to do is overtake them. There's just no space. You know the speed that they're doing is not appropriate for the area. They're going too slow. There's a big wake of cars behind you. And what happens is frustration builds in that queue behind you. And that frustration overtakes as someone wants to go boom by you. So you end up with a guy who's going to overtake 4 or 5 cars on a corner through just frustration. You're just going to get thick with it and go. So there's the big problem. People just can't, and that's in itself is dangerous. Even though the person at the front thinks they're being really careful, they're actually causing danger to happen further on down the queue as people get more and more frustrated as time passes and miles pass and you can't get where you wanted to go, and you're just going to go, if you don't get over this guy. So you end up just taking chances and reacting, and then somebody gets hurt. And that's how a lot of head-on collisions happen over the years. People taking chances during overtaking. But at least you're here. You made it. New subscribers. Keep sharing if you can. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and enable the notifications, because it does cheat the system. And so what I mean by that is that when you enable the notification, the bell notification, you will get a notification on your device, on your phone, on an email, somewhere to say that there's a new video after going up. If you don't do that, and then YouTube don't send you out any notifications at all about new videos. So you come back in 2 months' time and go, where did you go? You disappeared off the list. And you disappeared off the list because of no notifications. And that's how they work all the time. Raz says, what I think of the Toyota Camry. I still like Camry. I did a couple of videos of Camry over the years. I still like it. It's a good, honest car. Big thing. And I like Camrys anyway. I like big cars. They're always lovely. But I would like... it's a tiny bit tinny, I suppose. As things have moved on since I made a video, what is it, 3 years? 2.5, maybe 3 years since I made a video on Camry. And... things have kind of moved on as to how cars feel on the road and what they feel like to drive now, but I still like Camry. I still think it's a good looking car. Handsome American. I do like Americana cars, but that is actually a handsome Camry car. 2.5 litre petrol engine, and there's a battery unit in the back of it as well, and there's tons of room inside. And now it comes with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto enabled on it automatically. I'm currently driving the Mercedes C-Class, which is very loud at motorway speeds. I've started measuring motorway speeds, by the way. You can download a little app. I don't know how accurate it is, but it seems pretty good. It's called Decibel X. And it... I don't want that. Try for 3 days. It looks like that when you're going for it. You can see there, it's got me there at 65, 50, 60 decibels. But I noticed the E-Class the other night when I was driving down, at 120 kilometers an hour, it was 82 decibels, which is almost the same as the plane I just got off. So I was on an Aer Lingus flight, and taking off, that thing went to about 90 decibels. And then just kind of flying along quietly, and I was in front of the engine, so that's usually quieter anyway, but flying along, see about 88 decibels. But that little decibel meter is really good. So I'll be interested about whether you have any interest in decimal meters on your car. Just tell me what it is. Is it noisy? Is it not noisy? But that Mercedes C-Class, although it looks extraordinarily good, is actually quite noisy at high speed. I've obviously seen on TV Freeview channel as Thursday Quest Vintage Voltage. Damn it, I missed that the other night. I actually watched one of them. It was pretty good. But I missed it the other night. I keep forgetting that bloody Quest channel. So many channels. And then there's Prime Video, the other yoke, Netflix, and Apple TV, and there's all these other outlets as well. That's why TV's dying. Anyway, Vintage Voltage, 9 p.m. to do Mark 1 Mini with a Tesla motor, 350 horsepower, and 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. 3 seconds is good. I don't know if I'd want to be in a Mini going from 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. Not a Mark 1 anyway, because I'd say that's horrifically scary. Just because of the sheer power in the little tiny car that you're in. It's a little mad little yoke. But I have watched that Vintage Voltage before. It's actually really good. It's really good. It's a really interesting little car. Show, I mean. Daryl says, if car prices keep going up by the legacy car companies, it would make it easier for the Chinese companies to take over. It will, because they come in and they see, again, the Chinese have nothing to support. This is where I'm 100% telling you right now that this is going to happen, because if you were Volkswagen, just Volkswagen, not the Volkswagen Group, just Volkswagen, you have to support every Volkswagen that ever existed that's still on the road. You still have to support those cars. So when somebody comes into the dealership with their 1982 Volkswagen Golf, they want a service kit. They want the car to be serviced. They want tyres. They want brake pads, brake this. Volkswagen doesn't necessarily make all that, but they need to provide them with a dealer to make that happen, and just all kinds of stuff need to go on. But when a Chinese company like NIO comes into the market, they have none of that. They didn't make a car before. They just walk in and go, here's our new car. Go! Then you buy the car. You drive around for a couple of years. Nothing much goes wrong with the car. A couple of yokes here and there. They sort it all out for you. And that car becomes second hand. And it takes 20 years for them, NIO, to start spending money to support the older cars. By then, Volkswagen is looking at cars that are 40 and 50 years old. They're still supporting those cars. And they're still supporting all the Passats they sold last year. And they're still supporting all the Golfs and the Club Sports. And it's still out there. That's very expensive stuff to do. And if they're not really, if they don't put in a good managing director, don't get in some a bit of intelligence in them, they're going to be in deep doo-doo coming the next 5 or 6 years. It's going to be a tough 10 years now for car companies. We'll see what to do. Anyway, Heatwave 2022 going ahead. I don't know. I'd say they will. Yeah, I'd say they will. I don't know. I've kind of backed off from doing promotion for that sort of stuff. I just don't see the value in it. You promote them and nobody really buys tickets off the links or any. It's just because people just end up buying tickets wherever they find the tickets. Some people buy them on the day. Some people buy them in advance. Some people buy them off the websites. Just there's too much. It's too hazy for me, and it means I'm promoting somebody else's event when I can promote my own stuff, which is the other part of that. So it's just it's very hard to get involved with something that you haven't done before. I got involved with Heatwave at the first because I thought we needed something to go ahead. It was a great day out, but like pay wise to do the work that I did on promotion stuff wasn't worth it. Just was not worth it. Wasn't worth 200 quid to me. Like, it was just very, very small amounts of money, and as much of a day out as it is, it's not the effort requires 5 or 6 posts over Instagram, and then you have support on the day, and then you have to be there for the whole day and walk around. It's a hell of a lot of work. So I don't know. I'd love to do something for the lads behind it, because they were pretty good. They came at me straight away, but it's just so hard to get ticket sales to actually happen. And I don't want to charge them massive fees for stuff, but ticket sales where you get a cut of the ticket sales would be really good. But the ticket sales were just so low. It just wasn't worth it. What size wheels is the C-Class, Bob? Is AMG spec? It is AMG specs, yeah. The wheel size would make a massive difference to it. I haven't really investigated. I just literally drove home from the airport. My plane landed at 11:10 the other night, and I drove up to the airport at 4 o'clock in the morning, and then I came home at midnight. But I just, on the way home midnight, I was going, I gotta look at the meter there and see what the noise in here seemed really loud. So I haven't really looked at the spec of it yet, but I will before I bring it back tomorrow and get the details of it. But it just seems so loud on the road, and I was just hopping along. But it's a bit of a pain. There is a 6% anti-dumping tax in Ireland on Chinese manufactured bicycles. Could that come in for cars? Yeah, it should do. You shouldn't be able to get rid of a car in this country without having to go through recycling permits 100%. But the problem is, just having a recycling permit doesn't tell you how it's actually recycled. So we recycle cars here in this country. We put things into a recycling plant, and all fuels and oils are drained out and are recycled and put into different parts. But a lot of that stuff is shipped out overseas. A lot of it disappears out of the country. We don't actually recycle it here at all. I think, is it 90% of our plastic waste used to be sent to China for recycling on ships? So you have to wonder where the recycling actually happens, rather than actually just saying, well, it has to be recycled. Yeah, but by who and for what, and where does it go? Is it actually put back into the system, or is it disappeared out of the country? There's the problem. Volkswagen stopped making and selling Passats in America. That's not surprising. Passat wasn't selling well. Volkswagen got a real bad shot in the arm, and I mean a real bad shot in the arm, from that Dieselgate thing in the United States. They were making a lot of headway on sales in the United States of their Rabbit, Golf, Passats, all those cars, and then Dieselgate came and it just cut the rug from under them sales-wise over there. There was actually sort of plans for expansion of Skoda and Seat and stuff into America, but it's not going to happen now. If there was two companies I would say would become a new Nokia, one of them might have been Volkswagen a couple of years back. They were pretty close to it. They might still. Or Ford Europe would be the two, because they were just so very, very slow about moving things forward, and they have so many cars sold out there. You have to support all those cars. It's very, very, when you have a fleet, and they call it a car park, so the car park of Ireland is 2.5 million cars. About 250,000 of them is Volkswagen. Like, that's a lot of cars. That's a hell of a lot of cars. Then you have Toyota, which always had good reliability anyway. Lexus and stuff would be in there too. But they already have a network to go with it. So I suppose they're different money. They're not European, they're Japanese. They got different kind of money as well. So Volkswagen is the one that you want to be working on very carefully. Even though the look rate, I avoid AMG spec for 17-inch wheels and lower spec. My E-Class is 17 separately quiet on motorbike. That's 100%. It's the AMG wheel spec. It is definitely tire roar I'm hearing in the engine or in the car. It looks deadly. It's black and it's low, but it does scrape over speed bumps, and it's just really loud when you're driving along. And that's not what I want a Mercedes to do. I want a Mercedes to be the best it can be. But the interior... the interior is fantastic. At night time, it's like the Starship Enterprise. No joke, it really is. I did a TikTok on it the other day, just driving to Dublin, going up for that trip, and that's exactly what one of the lads said. Starship Enterprise. You just pan from us. They're all different colours and lights and vents are all lit up. Beautiful thing to look at night time. Little bit gimmicky, I think, but still beautiful all the same. New Ford Mondeo 2022 will only sold in China. China, weirdly, like Ireland, likes saloon cars, and they like bigger cars. So if you look at a Chinese-based car, it's often really big inside, massive legroom. Even though, not being racist, but they are smaller people. They're slighter people than us. They're not the average height there is like 5'5" or something. The average height here is 6 foot. So. There is a big difference in the size of the people, and yet they like bigger cars, which we did the same thing though. We went through a point of liking lots of saloons. We like saloons here once upon a time. The most sold saloon in the world was the Toyota Corolla, and it was mostly sold here in China and Japan. So we're the ones that like the saloon cars as well. But it's like the buying practices of certain car countries is very odd anyway. But to see that going out in China, it'll be called Mondeo China, but Mondeo will be disappearing out of Europe, already disappeared out of America. Passat had disappeared. There's so many different little cars that are going to disappear over the next while. They've stopped doing up Skoda Citigo and Say It Me. They're gone as well. They're not going to do them anymore. Citroen C1 is gone as well. Little cars, they're hard to make. They're hard to make safe, and they're just putting batteries in them makes them useless. Like Renault Zoe, you've got all these, they still have to get 5 stars in the NCAP rating. They still have to do all that stuff as well. Hey, listen, we got about 4 minutes left of this. And just to remind you, if you liked what you saw today, to subscribe to the channel. I know many of you have subscribed there in that list. So I can't see how many is actually going up by until the end of the transmission, but we're doing okay, which is pretty good. We've had 275 people playback today. Which is brilliant. That's fine. I don't mind it. We normally get about 2,000 to 3,000 playbacks. And we are going to be looking for a sponsor for this this Sunday Service channel, so they have a proper sponsor on it. Sorry, car companies, it ain't going to happen. I can't let a car company sponsor me here, but I will take other sponsors at any time. But it'd be nice to have a sponsor on board again. I know AA Ireland sponsors some of the stuff last year, really good at them as well, and hopefully we'll be doing something with them again this year, because that was nice. They're not a car company, they have to review their vans, suits me down to the ground. But the car companies know, as much car companies have offered me money, I still reject it all. But that's okay. That keeps the independent channel going, and no matter what happens, it's fine. But thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing the channel. If you could share it out, it would make it much easier. Just share it out on your Facebook page, or share it out on your Twitter account, or whatever it is, and just go, here's the channel. If you like live chat, it's like a little radio station on a Sunday for a couple of hours. This is the place to be. You have been brilliant today to keep you going. I will be back next Sunday, I think, next Sunday. Just check now, I'm sure there's not something on next Sunday, because I am going to a few little things over the next while. There is a few events on. No, we're okay. I will be here next Sunday for sure. But there is the Irish Car of the Year Awards takes place on the 11th, which is next week. And for next week, we will put out the results of the Irish Car of the Year, because I have to vote on that before Tuesday. And then we'll put out the results of how I voted and what I voted for on the Saturday afterwards, or the Friday afternoon. So I'll put out a video for that, or I'll do something with that. Eric Washington, when I'm going to put out a short video on my main channel and promote this one, I will. I don't mind. I'm going to be taking down all of the Sunday services from my main channel and put them up here. So they'll all disappear off the main channel anyway. And then we're going to have more and more stuff coming out here. All the reviews of cars will remain on the normal channel, where they always were. But some of I'll put more stuff out here as well. I might do some other little bits and pieces, like, I don't know, review dash cams or something here. I might do that kind of stuff, just to separate stuff out. Much easier. Tempest Fudges. Great show. First two channels exact. Here's to the next 10 years. Thanks, Automobile Tree, very good. And thanks, Aid, and thanks, Johnny Dubb and Graham Cullen, for dropping in. It's been an absolutely deadly day. Thank you very much for joining me here on a new channel. And I hope you will subscribe and keep the channel going for as long as you possibly can, because I'll be back next week and we'll do it all again. Thank you very much for dropping in. And until the next time, I'll see you on the far side.